Look East.
The headlines tonight. The swine flu jab arrives in the region, but not everyone wants it.
Experts say...
Hello. The first vaccinations for swine flu are being given in the region today, with health workers among the first to receive the jab.
As Look East reported on Monday, many workers in the NHS are reluctant to have the jab, despite official advice to get it. The first batch of the vaccine arrived in Essex early this afternoon. Let's get the full story now from Felicity Simper in Colchester.
Stuart, well, the vaccinations arrived here at Colchester General Hospital earlier this afternoon. Now, Heather Dakin here is a senior infection control nurse, and she's about to have the jab. Kate here is going to give her the injection. So, Heather, are you ready? I'm fine. OK, Kate, if you want to give her the injection, it should be, hopefully, a fairly straightforward procedure, just like all injections are. So she's being very brave here and rolling up her sleeve, and we'll see her getting the jab put in.
OK, yes, sounds great. OK, it might sting a bit as it goes in.
And there you go. Yes, it looks fairly straightforward. Doesn't seem to have had any immediate effect. We'll have a little chat with Heather in a minute and see how she's feeling. But first, with 500 new cases of swine flu expected over the winter in the east, the NHS has been gearing itself up for this second wave, and that begins by vaccinating the staff.
Delivered this afternoon, these vials contain the swine flu vaccine. There's 1,500 doses here. It's been given to frontline staff first at the hospital.
The vaccine works by stimulating the person's own natural defences to produce antibodies so that if they are subsequently exposed to the swine flu itself, then it will protect them from having a full infection.
Isaac Fernihoff is a senior theatre practitioner. He feels he has a responsibility to his patients and should have the vaccine done.
I think if you're going to be expected to work in an area that's going to be treating vulnerable patients, I think it's only part of your duty of care that you aren't making them any worse than they were when they came in. And so, as part of their safety, I think all staff who deal with critically ill patients should be having this vaccination.
However, with the NHS expecting 40% of staff opting to have the vaccine, there's clearly still scepticism from over half.
I expect just the usual minor side effects from a vaccine, and I think the more serious things which could happen, I think, are so minute in their frequency as to be largely irrelevant, and I think that the real risk of actually having a reaction to swine flu is far more serious problem.
Well, it's been a minute or so since Heather's had her injection, so let's see how she's feeling. Heather, how was it?
It's fine, thank you.
I mean, if you didn't have this and was to catch swine flu, and sort of how easy would it be to spread around a hospital?
It'd be fairly easily, particularly with vulnerable patients that we're having to deal with, and it's just spread via the sneezing and coughing around the environment, so it puts our patients at particular risk.
Well, the rollouts of the vaccine is going to continue tomorrow, and that's across hospitals throughout the region as well. So more hospital staff here tomorrow will be rolling up their sleeves, ready to be immunised. Stuart.
Thank you very much indeed.
Experts warned today that a 70-stone man from Ipswich will not be cured by surgery alone. Paul Mason, who's 48, is due to have an operation to tackle his extreme weight problem. He's currently housebound.
This was Paul Mason 3 years ago. Back then, he was 50 stone. Now, he weighs 70. His condition is so severe, he needs life-saving surgery, a gastric bypass. But today, a warning from others who've had that surgery. Penny Harris runs a self-help group in Ipswich.
How are you two getting on now?
Fine, yeah, doing really well.
Yeah, really good. How much have you lost?
Lost 11 stone, £5.5 pounds in 6 months.
And you?
In 5 weeks, I've lost nearly 3 stone.
Before her surgery, Penny weighed 23 stone.
Yes, the surgery will do him good short term, but long term, he needs support and help after that. And once you've had surgery, you don't have that support. The pouch works for you if you work with it. If you want to abuse it and you want to make yourself ill with food you can't have, then you put the weight back on. There's no way around it.
At the moment, Paul Mason is stranded in his bungalow on this estate in Ipswich, waiting while NHS Suffolk finalises the arrangements of his transport to hospital. Moving someone of his size is a complicated procedure and will almost certainly involve a specially built ambulance. We filmed Paul Mason using a so-called bariatric ambulance 3 years ago.
at least you can go to hospital in some sort of dignity.
His surgery will take place in West Sussex, but most cases in the East are referred to a specialist centre at the Luton and Dunstable Hospital. Here surgery is the final option, but can't guarantee success.
A psychological problem which makes a patient want to eat certainly does not go away just by an operation. It's something which is ongoing, and we need to support them at every step in future when they slip and fall. So we do tell the patient that this is not a magic cure, but it's a tool to help them.
It seems Paul Mason's plight is far from over. Stomach surgery is just the beginning of his recovery. Joel Mapp, BBC Look East, Ipswich.
The Conservatives say they will continue to use so-called open primaries to select their candidates for elections. That despite the continuing fallout from the election of the Mayor of Bedford. Last night the group leader was suspended after being critical of the whole selection process.
It was billed as a new way to engage people in politics, and hundreds, many of them non-party members, turned out to select the Tory candidate for mayor. Parvez Akhtar was their choice, and first to congratulate him was Nikki Attenborough, the deputy mayor and favourite to win.
She accepted the result, she shook Parvez Akhtar's hand and then sought to undermine him throughout the rest of the campaign. And I think that's what's caused splits within the Tory party in Bedford.
Like a few other members of the party, Nikki Attenborough wasn't happy with the way the candidate was selected. In a leaked letter, she accused Mr Akhtar of packing the hall with his supporters. The audience, she said, had been a sea of faces who she didn't recognise and who didn't understand what was being said.
I think I was hard-pressed, actually, to find many members in the hall.
Well, what do you mean, the sea of people in the middle who couldn't understand what was being said?
I don't think they actually did understand what the meeting was about, no.
Today, the party blamed those comments for losing them last week's election, one which David Cameron had hoped to win. They caused untold damage, said the party chairman, and went beyond what was acceptable. Mrs Attenborough has been suspended for 2 years. We haven't been able to speak to her today. So was it her fault the Tories lost Bedford, or did the new selection procedure produce the wrong candidate? Senior Tories said today Mr Akhtar wasn't to blame, but admit lessons will have to be learned.
Certainly there are things about Bedford that must be discussed with members and with the party leadership, but in general the process works well, and it did work perfectly properly in relation to Bedford.
The party still believes these sorts of selections are the way forward. Others are planned in our region. But in Bedford, it's all ended in bitterness and recrimination. Andrew Sinclair, BBC Look East.
Well, later in